Ladies and gentlemen, here at the Palace Indian Gaming Center is our featured bout of the evening. It's time for the big boys. 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the heavyweight division. The man in charge of the action when the bell rings is Marty Salmon. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing black trunks and weighed in at 218 pounds. His professional record, 14 victories, including 7 KOs, with only 4 losses. From Roseville, California, ladies and gentlemen, Killer Gil Martínez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trimmed with red, weighing in at 258 pounds. 40 professional victories, including 22 KOs and a world title against 9 defeats. From Cincinnati, Ohio, he is the former WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Tony TNT Tubbs.
Well, guys, we've got a couple of fighters here who've had a lot of time off. Tony Tubbs, 44 years old, trying to make a comeback and try to get his name back among those considered for title fights. And then in Gilbert Martínez, we've got a guy that went away for 7 years and all of a sudden decided that he wanted to fight again.
Yep, and that fight he does. When the bell rings, he's going to have his head on his chest all night long here.
Both fighters in black trunks. Tony Tubbs with red trim. Gilbert Martínez in the solid black trunks.
The big surprise right now, Joe, to Tony Tubbs is probably the fact that he's now realized he's facing a southpaw, which I don't think he knew before. As Mr. Martínez, when you look at his fight facts, you won't see that on there, which is the good thing about fight facts. They usually describe to you whether he's a southpaw or orthodox right-hander, and that is not shown, and now Tony's finally realizing that.
Well, Tubbs, this is his 50th pro fight, so he ought to be able to adjust to something like that. But as you say, it's a bit of a surprise when you come out and have to find that out in the first few seconds of the first round.
Yep, he's got to throw that lead right and the left hook and step around him.
Boy, after the other few fights we've seen today, these guys look like giants.
Well, I'll tell you what, those first 4 fights, I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but those are what you call the business smokers.
Well, and if Gilbert Martínez has lost 20 pounds to come to this fight, he didn't look too good in his trunks on the previous fight.
No, he didn't, and I think Tony might have found the 20 pounds that Gilbert lost.
Well, and Tubbs at one time, one of the elites in the fight game as a heavyweight. He was the WBA champion when he got a decision over Greg Page in April of 1985, but that was a long time ago. He decided to come back in 97 after 5 years off. And I guess he's thinking, well, George Foreman could do it at roughly his age, and if Foreman could do it, he'd like to try it as well.
Well, one thing Tony has been doing to keep himself active in the last 5 years, he's been in the gym with some of the most elite heavyweights in the world as a trainer, holding punch mitts and showing them the art of boxing, such as Vladimir Klitschko, the current WBO heavyweight champion, Brian Nielsen, and quite a few other people. Right now he's working down in New Orleans with a young man named Preston Herzog, who's a 6'6", 270-pound guy, starting to make a little noise in the heavyweight division.
Well, I'll tell you what I wasn't thrilled about is when those guys came against the ropes right over here by us.
Did you think they were coming through?
Yeah, I thought I was going to have them in my lap here for a second.
That's why we always got paramedics on the job.
But they're not supposed to be for us. Counting down at about 15 seconds left to go in round 1 of this heavyweight featured bout between Gilbert Martínez and Tony Tubbs. All right, round 1 in the books. We'll be back. Back at the Palace Indian Gaming Center in Lemoore, California, Joe Fonzi with Dwight Clark and veteran matchmaker Jeff Rupp for our featured heavyweight battle tonight between Gilbert Martínez in the black trunks, solid black trunks, and Tony Tubbs in the black trunks with the red trim.
Well, if this doesn't work out for Tony, the 49ers may need to sign him at left tackle because he can still move those feet pretty good for 44.
I'm noticing he's opting to stand in the corner also, which may cost him in the later rounds. I don't know, because he is carrying a little weight on those thin legs of his, and you need every bit of rest you can get. And Gilbert Martínez's game plan is to put his head on Tony's chest all night long and keep pounding into the body.
Well, that sure does seem to be his style. He just keeps coming at you and coming at you straight ahead.
And this brawling style you see from Gilbert is something that he adapted when he was fighting at 154, 160, and 168 before he found this new division to his liking.
It looked more like a slap than a punch.
Gilbert's been quite a shocker this last year. He came back a year ago last January, and since then has had some significant fights. His first fight was a knockout win over James Lester up in Orville, California in January. And from there he fought the very tough David Bostis, who was in the top 15 of the world, and beat him in a 10-round decision. And then from there he beat Fernelli Felice, who was 19-1 and in the top 10 of the division. And that earned him the fight with Jeremy Williams, which he lost in a 9th round TKO here 3 months ago at the Palace.
Tubbs got a left in there on Martínez a while back as we're approaching the 2-minute mark here of round 2. A scheduled 10-round fight between these two heavyweights. I don't know, Jeff, for either one of these guys, what was their motivation to decide to get back into the fight game after being out of it for so many years?
Money.
That's it purely, huh?
Strictly money.
So they obviously want to advance beyond this level if they're talking about getting into where the real big money is. And
well, that's the hard road to hoe right there, because a guy that's 45 years old like Tony Tubbs, former champion and stuff, if he was to beat Gilbert Martínez tonight and beat a couple other top contenders, nobody really wants to fight him because it's a can't-win situation. Oh, you beat a 45-year-old guy, or wow, you got beat by a 45-year-old guy.
10 seconds left here in round 2 of this featured heavyweight fight between Gilbert Martínez and Tony Tubbs, as they do a little dance to conclude round 2. Tony Tubbs and Gilbert Martínez in round 3 of our featured heavyweight bout tonight. Tubbs pretty much trying to keep Martínez at arm's length, isn't he, Jeff?
Well, what I'm surprised at is that Tony's not shooting that straight right hand, especially right to the body. You got a southpaw coming in at you. You want to throw that straight right hand right down the pipe and come back with a left hook and then move off to your left. And he's not doing that. And with as much moxie as he's got in this business, I'm surprised at it.
Tubbs has fought some of the best. As we said, he was the one-time WBA champion with a decision over Greg Page. His first defense of his title was then a loss to Tim Witherspoon. And he's kind of been scuffling ever since then, trying to make a comeback at age 44.
Well, he's had his ups and downs, and he's also got 16 children to support.
My goodness.
Yes, he found 3 of them down in Palmdale, California, about 100 miles away from here, 2 days ago when he got here, that he hadn't seen in 2 years, and they're all up in his room with him, and they're here rooting for him too.
So we know what he was doing with his 7 years off.
Yes, we do.
And then you've got kind of a journeyman in Martínez as well, who I thought one of the best quotes I heard describing him said that his best punch is his forehead.
When he can land it. Gilbert, being rather short-armed and short in stature in this division, doesn't have much of a right jab, so he's got to go ahead, come in quick. It's too bad that he doesn't do a little bit of the crab-type style and the bob and weave a la Mike Tyson to get inside, rather than stand back there and just lunge in with a straight left. If he had bend his legs a little more and bend at the waist and bob and weave and work his way in, he'd be a lot more effective to the body.
Well, and as you said, when you lunge in, you are taking a chance that you're leading with your head when you just lunge in.
And are also susceptible to the lead right hand. And I think it's going to be a couple rounds where Tony Tubbs either figures that all out or else goes into the defensive mode and just tries to last the 10 rounds. Because it seems like Gilbert, I think, has won the first couple of rounds here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, he seems to be the aggressor, landing more punches.
Tubbs looks a little bit more like he's just trying to survive rather than be aggressive and land punches.
Gilbert's definitely pretty hungry on this one here.
10 seconds to go in round 3 of this featured heavyweight bout between Gilbert Martínez and Tony Tubbs, as again Martínez just kind of bulldozes his way across the ring. We'll be back.